All right. How's everybody doing today? We're going to be playing some more of Where the Water Tastes Like Wine for a couple hours, I believe. Unless something crazy happens.
Well, I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman come for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much behind to drag me down.
This man can barely wait to get through the pleasantries before asking if you've heard this story. 110% true, he says. I heard it from my nephew, and it happened to someone he knows well. Well, sure. The man launches into a telling. It's polished. He's obviously done this many times before. He tells you the story of the intelligent cows who took over their owner's house. You recognize the bones of it from your experience of the woman who hid from her cows under her house. It's been embellished in the interim, though. Afterwards, you thank the man and move onwards. You'll have to remember that version. Even if it's not quite what happened, it's a good story. Okay.
My vagrant song.
Don't really remember which way we were going. Two musicians beckon you over. Billy split our shows in 5 minutes. You play the upright bass, don't you? Doesn't matter. Keep plucking this string. Look, we'll pay. You take it for a couple songs feeling like an idiot, but hey, you get paid. Holy shit.
Paddling through the dark, you stumble into the path of the white deer. Its beauty strikes you at once. It is something otherworldly, beyond borders, a moon swimming in the void. Human shouts not far away break the spell. The deer's ears prick up. This thing is being hunted.
Oh, we gotta help the deer.
You know a way out of here. As the hunter's cries get louder, you approach the deer carefully, palms outstretched. As you grow close, your features become clearer in the light of the deer's aura. It bolts into the path of an oncoming train.
That's what we get for trying to help. These fellows are lounging in the front of a half-finished office building, taking their lunch break. Hey, one calls, waving you down. Rick was telling us the story. Listen, okay, and tell us if it's bullshit or not. I think we've talked to these guys before. Rick, a credulous-seeming fellow, starts telling you the story about the eclipse which cast the shadows of pure love over the land, enthralling thousands. You realize it's the story of the strange woman who shared a moment with you during the eclipse, but changed in a few major ways, so it's definitely part bullshit, right? But also a little real. Half the group groans. How the hell is that supposed to be a real story? Exclaims the man who waved you down. You're all the most gullible pieces of shit I've ever met. The other half of the group, vindicated, shares a bottle of pop with you. Okay. Where was that information about the walking yesterday? That would have been whatever. As you walk down the road, a black crow flutters down to land in your path. It looks at you, cocks its head and speaks. Well, you've got a long, long road ahead, don't you? All these people chasing you down, or so I hear. It laughs. I got some experience when it comes to chasing folks. Well, if you want, you can go find your friend again. Ask them more about their life. They might want better stories this time, though. Peers up at you. Didn't they tell you where they were headed next? Yeah. But hey, the world is full of people. Bet you can find another friend like that if you went looking around. There's more than one interested person in this land for sure. It gives a gravely laugh. That's what humans say anyway. And with that, it launches into the air and disappears. Did I go into Boston? I guess I already did Boston. I think we're just going to go. Ah, you jerk. Yeah, I certainly did. Okay, we're just going to go down I-95, trying to make it down to, down by my house in Florida. Unless there's somebody I know up here. What is this? To show you what. Oh, it shows you where all the things you found are. Okay. All right. Why is this so slow? Yeah, we'll just follow 95 down. Hook up this guy, unless we can find. Well, here's the porter. Is that the guy we know? Well, we'll just go to 95. Play me some music.
The engines belch black smoke as the ferry churns gray water into froth. A broad-shouldered figure leans out over the rail, eyeing the skyscrapers on the horizon. Nearby, a man and a woman speak in low, urgent voices. He takes her wrist gently. She is weeping softly.
I wish you didn't have to go,
She says.
there's gotta be work on some of those buildings going up.
His thumb skates over her pulse point.
I checked every day for a week. There ain't. I'll be back though. Got your picture in my wallet, don't I? It's not forever.
Her words are split by a sob.
Might as well be. My parents didn't come to New York for this.
She leans against him, the wind tousling her hair. He pulls her to his chest.
I'm leaving because I gotta go. If there was another way.
They stand together, close, quiet, in the stiff breeze.
You join a crew of laborers waiting at a street corner. Soon a truck pulls up and everyone jumps on the back. The job's good, one woman assures you. You ride a short way before the truck pulls up behind a factory. Everyone hops out and starts putting on heavy coats. What for? The whole factory is a vast, cold meat locker. You're shivering in only a few minutes. Dragging the carcasses around is hard work, but it only keeps you so warm. Soon your hands are totally numb. I'll keep going. You grit your teeth and keep working. By nightfall, you're shaking almost uncontrollably. You're paid a full day's wages, but it was hardly worth it. Yeah, I see that. Wow. Is this supposed to give me some energy? Broke again, jiggity jig. Why am I going the wrong way? These men lean against the wall of this hardware store, smoking and chatting. They wave you over. You heard this one before? They launch into a group resuscitation of the Thunderbird people, who fly when they fall from the heights, interrupting one another in their excitement to tell it. Wait a second. You recognize the story. It's a story about the bridge builders. Someone's added to it in the meantime, though. What do you think? Asked one of the men. Eyes bright. You think that really happened? Of course. Well, I'm not sure myself, but damn, it sounds wild. Is this the guy I know? Don't. Mason.
My twin brother Paul and I always got into trouble, but we were good. We didn't do nothing to anybody till we left. Then we hurt a lot of people. Me, more so than Paul, because he didn't make it through. The march I was on, the bonus army, it's less a bonus and more an acknowledgement of what I've had to suffer. Civilians will never understand. You know any good jokes? I'm not so good at telling them anymore.
Looking for something funny. Well, wow. We're in trouble here.
Yeah, Paul would have liked that one.
Shit, I like that one.
My wishes come true? Well, if I could wish for anything, probably be for a nice, plentiful garden away from everyone else. My own land, my own laws. Tell me a happy story. Something to make the world seem kind.
Where's the one about the two brothers coming together after 30 years? Oh, not that one.
I liked that one. There's some hope left for you too, you know. Don't give it away too quickly. My family. They were good to me. Ma and Pa, and to Paul, and to my sister Jessie. Some days I wish I could find Jessie again and have her help me. But she always liked Paul best. So, you must have seen some interesting stuff on the road. Anything exciting? I don't really scare at that stuff anymore. Sorry.
Hey, I thought I was going 3 for 3 with that one.
The past doesn't even feel like it happened. It feels like it's happening in every moment, in every slumber. When your memories come back to you, do they clutch at you? At your heart? So anyway, tell me a funny story? You seem like you know a few good ones.
I do, but I don't have anything funny.
And that's what you think when you think of tragedy. Huh.
You
Freedom's
said
getting
funny.
paid what you deserve, and getting enough to get by.
They always ask for like, oh, you got something funny, and then you think something that's
Freedom is
funny,
not
and they go, oh, that's not thrilling.
So anyway, tell me a funny story? You know, the government told us to keep our chins up too, but I didn't believe them either. Travel. Well, this walk feels like a little bit of freedom now and again. The flowers along the road make for fine company. Here's the sun. I've got to go. I'm headed up the road this way. Will our paths cross? Days come and go and the terrors return.
Oh,
They'll never be able to pay back what they owe me, but I'll always keep at 'em. What about you? Is there something somebody owes you?
ooh, what a downer.
The mailman's uniform is dated and worn. He sits on the edge of the road, head in hands. He looks up as you approach. Can you help? Car clipped me. I think my legs... Well, I'd appreciate it if you could deliver this for me. He holds out a brown envelope. The letter's addressed to a James Gibson Sr., 120 J Street. But the city stymies you. The blocks run straight from I to K. You stop a man for directions, but he shakes his head and laughs. Someone's playing a joke on you. There's no J Street. Over here. A woman in a brown coat overheard your question. She steers you down an alley. Someone's chalked a big orange J on one wall. I thought Clovis was late.
Go left up ahead. Old Man Gibson's the third on the right.
As you round the corner, the world changes. J Street is a place out of time, like the city forgot an entire street a century ago and carried on around it, oblivious. Even the noise and bustle of D.C. can't penetrate this little pocket. The man who answers is ancient and stooped. He peers at the letter.
I think it's from my son. I don't see so well anymore. Will you read it to me?
You tear the letter open. It isn't good news.
We go this far, we might as well tell him the truth.
He fights it, but his face crumbles. Tears roll down his cheeks.
It's better to know. I've been waiting a long time for this.
His shaking hand takes the letter.
Thank you for telling me.
You're sitting across the street from a busy restaurant with a little sign on a plank of wood. Help me buy food. Which is actually what I was going to spend it on, so that's good. Most of the passerby give you nasty looks. There's a lady in the front window of the restaurant who can't stop staring either. Bad luck today. Just as you're about to give up, however, you see some motion inside the restaurant. The lady paid her check, and now she's bustling to the door. To your surprise, she makes a beeline across the street, right for you. Uh-oh. You can't tell if she's excited to help you or pissed that you're here. But she slaps a pile of coins into your hat and starts machine gunning you with questions. What's your name? Who's your mother? Why are you dressed like this? Why are you here? Ma'am, please. Bitch, please. She glares at you like a hawk glares at a rat caught in its talons. You look exactly like somebody I know. She growls, maintaining eye contact for much too long. Exactly. And with that, she turns on her heels and stomps away. Strange. Generous at least, but very strange. Can we buy some more money?
Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep that stride stuck in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track,
I can't go across the,
no one else to dig my hole.
Oh, here we go.
Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I
Does that cost?
fall empty, they're the ones who'll bury me.
Oh, I see a story.
Well, I'm gonna cast
Low tide on a moonless night. This beach is long, stretching toward a receding sea. In the darkness, the sand seems coarse and gray, alien. The stars are dim and distant. It outshines the stars with its presence, a streak of sickly colored light, leaving a trail of distorted fire. It slowly creeps along the sky like a vast worm, though you know that, given the distance, it must be moving at great speed. there, near the water's edge, a human figure. They stand there, transfixed by the light. 1, 2, 3 steps, ankles lowering into the surf. Silent collapse into a black wave, bathed in a nameless color. Then, nothing. You hear the whippoorwill first, shrill and close. Then you see him, high up above the black streaks of wires. A lineman, fraying belt holding him to the pole. A damned bird has come to perch on a power line, stare hungrily at the man's soul.
What the fuck is a whippoorwill?
He's unsteady. His hands are shaky, and his body sways in the wind. You spot his tool bag next to the pole, worn and frayed, much like the man. A half-gone bottle of cheap rye pokes out of it. What's he gonna do? Come down from the pole? You snatch it from his bag in one quick motion and walk away. Hey! He starts, but whatever he's about to say slips into a slurred whine as his belt snaps. His body plummets, and his limbs go slack with the understanding of what is happening to him. He tumbles into the tall, dry grass by the side of the road with a muffled noise. All you hear is the call of the whippoorwill. Eager, loud, thankful.
Can't pin that on me.
The edge of summer has turned the ocean choppy and misanthropic, and the skies miserably gray. The boardwalk prophetess lured you into her tent with a promise to read a fortune for free. Seems like business has slowed to a crawl already. Before you lie the instruments of her profession. There's tarot cards, Rider-Waite, but also Marseille for traditionalists, rosary beads and costume jewelry, and of course, the centerpiece, a great glass globe. With practiced theatricality, she goes directly for the crystal ball, letting her eyes unfocus as though she can see a great distance into it. She brings up names, places, asks if you've known someone called John, if you have a relative in Newark.
Will be a good spear.
You latch on to what she says, and together you dance towards some insights about your romantic prospects.
All right.
It's relieving to meet an honest charlatan instead of the ghouls and ghasts of the road. You might even say you're having fun, until she abruptly stops talking. Your eyes, she says, her voice suddenly drained of the bassy drama that was her stock in trade. You've met him. You've seen him, too. You carry him with you.
So about the
The words that come out of your mouth are
Fuck a
not
wolf?
your own. They seem unwilling or unable to form properly out of a human throat. They're more like snarls, warning noises of a vicious animal. The glass globe shatters. Your vision is hazy, and your body is not your own. You came far to get away from me, the voice lodged inside you says. But this one has a way of wandering. The fortune teller has collapsed, cowering. Consider your debt to me repaid. When you come to your senses, you're lying face down on the rough wood of the boardwalk, sore and weak. An empty patch of wood, cleaner than the surrounding planks, is all that remains of the fortune teller's tent.
does that one count as a happy story? Listen to this, bursts a boy loitering outside the grocery store. He works his way through a long and strange story about the ghost who murdered the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. There, he finishes. What do you think? Wait a minute. Holy shit, you know this story. It's the story of the mischievous ghost in Cincinnati Music Hall, but wildly altered. For a couple moments, you're too surprised to respond. Seriously, the boy says, what do you think about that one? It can't be real. Surprisingly, the boy is delighted. That's what I told my brother, he exclaims. But he dunked me in a rain barrel and punched me. That sucks, you tell him. The kid shrugs. I put Wasp in a cup and held it on his back while he was sleeping. So we're square now, I guess. God damn. Who's this? Did I not camp? Oh, little Ben.
Sorry, friend, but I gotta ask you not to get no closer unless I can see your hands at all times. Look too clean to be one of us. But you don't look like the company sent you neither. All right, come and share my fire spell. Don't linger. These hills is full of ears. Don't think just 'cause you can't see no one that you're safe. And I'll give you cornbread. Don't be so sure of me neither. Anyway, I need to think about something else. Know any scary stories? Any spooky stuff? Huh. Ain't funny to me.
See, he asked for something spooky, so I told him a story about ghosts killing people, and he said, that ain't funny.
Traps. Yeah. I tried to help dig us out. Now more likely than not, I'm gonna be running forever. Keep thinking I should get mad about it. Maybe there's only so mad a man can be for so long. Sometimes fire follows the line all the way up into the hole. Whoosh, it snuffs out. And there's the men with their eyes screwed shut, fingers in their ears, not knowing how to feel in silence. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs.
So I think I need to tell like some of these stories I haven't told, so that I can get them to grow. Let's get rid of this one. Where's the?
Come on. Don't try to cheer me up with that lying nonsense. What's freedom? When the community decides what it's worth? Setting the value of things together? You mean when you don't answer to nobody? Just ain't possible, my friend. Anyway, I need something to laugh about. Got any funny ones? You are a pretty funny one, you know that?
See, the last guy, he asked for something funny, and I played that one, and he didn't like it. This guy, I play it.
Heaven? Honest pay for an honest day.
So I'm wondering if it's
Even
like,
now, I don't dare open my lips all the way around the words.
I'm wondering if this game has like, this guy thinks different things are funnier than everybody else. Because it's different for every person.
See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just see dogs. That's supposed to be scary? Well, all right. Oh, sure, I know sadness. Sometimes I get to thinking that just because you're right doesn't mean you ever get your rights. Times like that, I feel like all them cold flakes are just settling in me. Like I'm gonna become part of the mountain guts, one way or another. Got any funny stories? Must have a couple. Are you trying to scare me? Every man in the last meeting I ran could tell you a story scarier than that right off the top of his head. Home? I always wanted a little place where I could watch the sky change color, watch the cook fire smoke dance up among the pines. Morning. I gotta get going. Headed up that way. I'll be specific for my safety and yours. If you want to find me, then do it. Talk again about these things. Cole ain't got no country. No worker neither. Worker ain't Virginian, Christian, white, colored, Irish, Polish, nothing. A worker is a worker. We all gotta work. If you're one of them, if you think I sound red, you best come out and say so. Get it over with.
It's break time at this half-finished bridge. The workers are gathered around a young man who sits on a bucket like a king. They listen raptly to a story about the Devil of Leeds. You realize it's the story of the winged goat by pristine water, but heavily embellished. The young man on the bucket tells it masterfully, doing all the voices, as if he's told it this way 1,000 times before. What a story. It's nothing close to what actually happened, but this version is pretty good. You have an easy time remembering it.
A few wanderers like you are looking for a place to camp.
We heard there's a Leatherman cave nearby.
They tell you. They describe a locally famous vagrant who hiked this area for almost 30 years.
He's dead now, but his caves are the best place to camp at any town.
All right.
You and the other wanderers find the cave easily, because someone's lit a fire there. As you approach, you see a silhouette bend over the flames with an odd creaking sound, like a door swinging in the wind. His coat is crudely stitched from leather plates that squeak against each other.
The Leatherman.
One of the others whispers.
A ghost.
The Leatherman must have heard, but he just stares. His face is corpse still.
Of course he isn't a ghost, or, oh shit.
He's eating, you say, and point out his can of beans.
Je ne suis pas un fantôme,
The Leatherman says, and adds,
idiot. Oh,
bursts your companion.
Canadien.
Soon, he and the Leatherman are deep in conversation, and your group has a safe place to rest.
Fair enough. Anybody seen any? That's funny, this Highway 17. I live on Highway 17. Ain't no stories over here. Hello, hello. And the music takes a turn.
Well, I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground.
There's one.
'Cause when that ferryman comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found.
No fence, gate, or sign marks the entrance to the cemetery. Just a moment ago, you weren't surrounded by graves, and now you are. How long have you been stepping on dead folks, fully unaware?
Something nice to think about.
A wood board, bleached white. Unknown. The word was painted on black by a steady hand, each letter signed with a flourish. Whoever made this memorial had more compassion than money. You're already quiet, so maybe it's silly, but you instill that silence with intent. What else could someone do? A sparrow calls. Seems birds don't have much respect for the dead. You notice the grave marker isn't dug into the ground, just propped up on a tree. Looks nicer now, but unmoored as these markers are. This grave.
Hey, Matt, have you
in
seen
front
this
of
game before?
Tree. Does this memorial even belong to it?
And by, I'll see them far and long. When the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, a vagrant song. Yeah, this will be my tale. My vagrant song.
The blistering sun has scared even birds into the shade. But a middle-aged woman and a young couple are still collecting scraps of cotton that the machinery missed. With a ragged voice, the older woman calls to you. Got any water?
At the beginning of this game, you're playing cards with a wolf, the devil type creature, and you lose, of course. And he sends you out to go out and walk across everywhere to pick up stories, and you'll come across a story. Like in New Jersey, I ran across a sheep that had wings on it. And then as you meet people, you tell people these stories. And then you'll go farther, and then you'll hear the story that you told by somebody else. And it is that sheep with wings has turned into the Jersey Devil and is killing people. And it's just... It has a lot of... This is set in the Depression era. It's got a lot of folklore and history to it. Like all this, like what this guy's talking, and you're learning a new story. And as you camp with people, they'll be like, hey, tell me a story. And then you tell them a story. And then they go up and they spread that up there. It's,
The three of them rush over to you,
I've got-
suddenly reanimated.
two
They
and a half
pass
hours in
around
on
your
this.
Canteen. When you get it back, it's empty. The woman squeezes your hand and sighs with relief. Sweetest thing I ever tasted, she tells you.
Yeah, the music is fantastic. And if you're in the northern part, when you cross down to the southern part of the states, the music changes. When you go over to like Chicago and that area, the Midwest, the music, the whole style changes. The music is fantastic. I see me playing this maybe a little bit more. I was actually going to play my PS4 tonight through remote play and play some Persona 5. But for some reason, and I've got business class internet, it came through so blurry I couldn't read it. So I'm going to have to get a capture card. And I got Persona 5, and there's like 100 hours of gameplay on it. So that should keep me busy for a while. Okay. Some of these are spoken, some of these aren't. Need some cash, a man asks. He just moved in down the street, needs help carrying boxes from the curb into the house. Threw my back out this morning, he sighs. Lift with your legs, that's my tip. You take his advice and he pays you well.
Going down to the river, gonna cleanse my soul. Going down to the river.
That's the other thing I was saying, like, I'm here at this whatever, and then there's Highway 17. Dude, I live on Highway 17.
The
I wonder if it
soldier
goes all the way
sits
down
in the
to
dirt with his
below
legs
Jacksonville.
splayed out, like a child would sit. Beneath the tattered fabric of his antique uniform, several open wounds fester in the hot sun. Lend a hand, traveler? You kneel in front of the soldier. His body is marked with bullet holes, along with deeper wounds that could be from knives or bayonets. Maggots squirm inside the raw, red flesh. About time I earned an amputation. You seen any bluebellies around? The soldier leans in, uncomfortably close to inspect your features. Were his pupils solid white before now? He tilts his head, narrows his eyes, sniffs you. What are you, stranger? A shadow falls on the soldier's face. You damn Yankee! He pulls you in by the wrist and drives a bowie knife into your gut. As the blade bites your flesh, the soldier stares into your eyes, his body dispersing into the wind like a cloud of dandelion seeds.
An hearted gal with a wild and righteous sound. When they try to throw a wall up, ooh, we gonna tear it down. Yeah, when they try to throw a wall up, we gonna tear it down.
First tree in a mile, and it's a stout myrtle with bald branches. No relief from the sun out here. Leaves would help. Someone hadn't replaced them all with dusty glass bottles.
Why in the hell would they put bottles on them? But I'll take that
Cool
rest.
down in the shade. The breeze blows through the bottles, making a series of heavy, hollow sounds. You think about wind chimes and the smell of fresh pies on windowsills. The dense sound of many conversations cuts your nap short. There's no one around. Not until you look up at the bottles. They're filled with bright blue orbs, and words echo from them. None seem to notice your presence.
Can't get enough? Porcelain, chrome, the rusty ones? Gotta turn those sleek faucets. Ever find me in a hardware store, I'm gonna haunt it till the cows come home.
Laughter rumbles inside neighboring bottles.
Oh, it did help me.
You emerge from the underbrush and find yourself at the edge of a field. A farmhouse sits at the other
What
end.
was my cat doing?
Close by, large family is tending to the plants together. They pause and regard you, almost nervously.
Hello there?
The grandmother asks.
Hello.
The family is almost too nice to you. When you ask for water, they don't even let you walk to the pump by the house. A child runs back to the shed for a folding chair, and they serve you lemonade in a glass among the lettuce heads. Halfway through your glass, you notice someone moving furtively down by the house. The cuffs of his white shirt are stained red. The father sees your look and shifts to block your view. His eyes are bright, and his teeth are bared in something like worry. How do you like your lemonade?
It's great.
His wife arrives with a bag full of sandwiches for you,
Oh, yes.
and the whole family ushers you back into the woods, waving, wishing you well. You take one look back over your shoulder. The man by the wall is gone.
Well, that gave me some health. I need to find a big city. I thought Charlotte would do it. So this is going to be an updated story right here. The waitress at this diner is sharing an outlandish tale with one of her regulars. I heard it from my sister-in-law, she said. It happened to her daughter's friend. It's true. She notices you listen. Hey, have you heard this one before? Which one? She regales you with a story about the storm generated by the gigantic bird. Halfway through, you realize that it's a story of the massive thunderstorm, but highly embellished. What do you think about that? The waitress exclaims. It's an interesting tale. Sure is, she agrees, and true, every word of it. I need to find a big...
I won't leave much to find that can be found.
What's this? A picnic blanket strewn with half-eaten lunches lies abandoned. Wait, that pile of coats is an old woman. My grandchildren all wanted to go swimming, she complains, but no one wanted to stay with me. She feeds you well. Good food in exchange for quiet company. Alright, now I just need to take a nap.
To dig my hole. Well, I got no companion except the
Damn it.
wind and the sea. And when I'm cold and empty, they're the ones who'll bury me.
What city is this? Savannah. I made it to Georgia.
Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. When the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song. Yeah, this will
This is where things get a little crazy.
Evening there. You looking for a sermon or just a chat?
Because this guy is going to ask me, hey, tell a funny story. And I got to go through all the stories that I've
First thing
picked
I
up.
ever learned behind the pulpit is that every homily is just a conversation. ain't as one-sided as you might think either. Preachers ain't shepherds, they're cowboys. They gotta run with the flock, keep them directed without fencing them in. So how about you take a seat and guide us somewhere? You must have seen some pretty wild stuff on the road. What's the most exciting thing you've seen?
Here we go. See this right here? This tell the story of intelligent cows who took over their owner's house. This started off as a story where a lady was scared of cows, and they came to her house and she hid under her house because she was scared of the cows. Now it is taken over to intelligent cows have taken over the house. Oh. Let's tell the story of the,
Huh, that one's trying to be scary, right? Don't work on me, I guess.
that wasn't
Yeah.
a good pick.
Well, Ma died a few years after I was born. Pops used to tell me she was beautiful and that I had her eyes and her sense of conscience, but he always said it like it was an insult. Hey, do you have any spooky campfire tales? Feels appropriate out here, right?
Hell yeah, I got spooky tales. I got the devil leads for crying out loud.
Oh, you got me for a second with that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to open his eye up here.
Sadness? No. A preacher ain't allowed to be sad, except for a certain sort of sadness. You understand? We have to be salve. We have to lift up the community, challenge injustice. Folks like me can't be sad for ourselves when it's the congregation that really hurts. Lately, my journey's been pretty ordinary, just walking church to church. What about you? Been on any adventures?
Adventures. The corn farmer from Cincinnati. There's another one right here. Slow going cart near Cincinnati. They wouldn't be going slow in that cart if they had Skyline. The Ghosts of the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. I forgot what he wanted.
That strikes me as a shallow kind of hope.
Ah,
Dreams come true? Well, there are two sorts of dreams. Dreams you live on and dreams you live for. Heaven is as real as God, but it's a dream you live on. It gets you through the week. Promise of the afterlife is a salve for the truncheon bruisers. Anyway, why don't you tell me a scary story? You must have heard some good ones.
I just saw one. The Headless Horseman.
Oh, you could rattle a congregation's bones, I bet.
I bet.
Bondage? Yeah, met my daddy's daddy once. One time is all I needed Know that some chains ain't ever coming off. Don't matter what sort of proclamation a white man in a suit makes. You must have seen some pretty wild stuff on the road. What's the most exciting thing you've seen?
Ah. The shadow of pure love.
I'm not sure that one moves me.
Hey, come on.
Love? Well, I've had long, cold nights, and hot ones too. Paris was.
Paris Hilton?
Well, the point is, I'm the same as anyone else. But nah, haven't settled down yet. Too busy with another sort of love. Well, I gotta get moving on. Have sermon give in the morning, and the church is a long night of walking that way.
So here's me right here. This is where he'll be next. If you want to go over and talk to him again.
Walk like you're blessed, child. Because even if you ain't, that's the only way you'll find your holy self.
And then the more you talk to these people, the more they open up, the more stories they tell you, and it just keeps going on.
My tale, my vagrant song.
Faded shotgun houses sit in rows under the tall shadows of smokestacks. A worker in full uniform hollers from a porch. "Hey, traveler, throw me inside. Got some literature here."
Oh, some literature.
As you shut the door, the man glances out the window and draws the shades. "Landlord toss you out? Ha, don't mind me, it's none of my business." He pries up a floorboard with a crowbar. You glance over the man's shoulder to see inside the compartment. Canned goods, a pile of leaflets, the wood stock of a rifle. He replaces the board and stands. He hands you a can of whole potatoes, then a leaflet which reads, "No evictions, no fascists, no hunger." Headed back to the shop, but we'll have a Bible meet soon. Bible meet. You don't know James 5:1 by heart. Learn it. That's our favorite scripture. You rest in a field where a well-dressed stranger talks your ear off on all manner of subjects. The weather, fireflies in summer, how combine harvesters work. After a while, the mood shifts.
Heard my death bones this morning.
Ooh, what the fuck are death bones?
Death bones. Heard 'em rattle like clank, clink, clank. More startling than wind chimes in a tornado.
He plucks dry grass and chews on a piece.
Ain't much time left now. That don't matter. I'm fine. Got my savior waiting at the pearly gates.
The man shifts uncomfortably.
At least I do as of this afternoon, I hope. Nearly knocked the pastor's door down earlier. Sure was good to meet you.
The man pauses, rubs his chin in contemplation.
Don't let the bedbugs bite.
He walks off slow. After his silhouette becomes small in the horizon, but before he vanishes, you see him collapse to the ground.
Cast my stones o'er the waters of this land. By and by, I'll see them far and long.
So they got such a great narrator doing all these voices, and then for a while they have you do some. Like if you're gonna update a story, you read it yourself, which isn't nearly as entertaining. The policeman in the truck on this corner is having a pretty wild argument with someone on the other end of the radio. No, he keeps saying, no way. You listen in as the man on the radio finishes a wild story about the woman communing with wood spirits. Communing with wood spirits, sorry. I'm like, every time I read spirits in this, I think alcohol, and they're talking about real fucking spirits. I swear this is what happened. The cop over the radio insists. That's when it clicks. You know this story. It's a stranger version of the story of the women praying in the woods, but with some bits left out or replaced. Ain't true, the cop in the truck's eyes. If only he knew. Alright, let's stay in Jordan. Let's head on down my way.
Well, I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth.
I'll be right back. Somebody's here. I'll leave the music on. It's good.
When that ferryman comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found. Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerites tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to dig my hole. Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm cold and empty, they're the ones who'll bury me. Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. When the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song. Yeah, this will be my tale, my vagrant song. Well, I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels
Alright.
into the ground.
That's the bad thing about working where you live.
For to tally up my worth,
People just show up all day, expect you to take care of them.
can be found.
Holy shit, we are gonna make it to my house. That's still Highway 17. It is Highway 17. A long black car growls up in front of this hotel. Out steps a woman in an extravagant hat and coat, followed by a whole crowd of hangers-on. Is she a singer or an actress? You don't recognize her face, but to your surprise, you recognize the story she's telling. In a sharp transatlantic accent, she's telling everyone at a party a story about a traveler who visited the USA from another world. It's clearly the story of the strange soil surveyor, but changed in a few entertaining ways. Just keep listening. Isn't that something, she asks. Her various followers agree. She pays the driver of the limousine and sweeps into the hotel like a thunderstorm of red velvet. Someone should do a picture about it, you hear her exclaim.
And when I'm cold and empty, they're the ones
What was this?
who bury me.
This half-finished house provides good shelter from the wind, and the construction workers are already packing up their tools for the day. One of them sees you sneaking in, but just gives you a wink. Try the basement, he suggests. His advice is good. You find a spot for a long, cool rest.
Come down for to take me hand in hand.
So those little ones, the little black ones
Tale of vagrants.
that have like X's or whatever on them, help you out. Like I was getting tired there, and a story about, and then a place where I could sleep came in
Small for his age.
before a food one
Boy of
happened.
13 or so, sitting on an upturned bucket by the side of a tiny wedge of farmland. The dog, as though by contrast, is massive, an enormous yellow-brown mutt. He's called Rover, the boy explains.
Paul says he can't come with us.
Where?
West.
You notice the Model A truck on the yard, piled high with furnishings and trunks and bags and knots of rope to tie it all together. And upon all that, too, yet more dust and grit.
Paul says it has to be better.
Why
With
can't
one
Rover
toe
go?
tip, he scratches a parabola on the dead, dry ground.
Paul says we can't afford to feed Rover no more.
You can't tell where the blonde of the dog's coat ends and the omnipresent dust begins. Same goes for the boy's hair.
Will you take him?
You should or you can't.
Rover follows you eagerly after you feed him the tiniest sliver of jerky. But a few hours later, he snaps to attention, as though hearing some distant noise your ears can't catch. The last you see of him are the markings left by his dirty pelt on the leaves of the underbrush.
Boy and his dog.
Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary
The
back.
cave is really a man-made hole breaching into an earthen mound. The man, khakis dirtied by kneeling on the rough earth, has assembled a macabre little pile of skulls to the side.
What are you doing?
Readying these for sale, friend.
What?
He wipes his hands on his pants.
This pile of skulls, clearly claimed from his enemies by an Indian chieftain, would be perfect for any cabinet of curiosities or sideshow attraction.
Why dig up a grave?
Why, these skulls belong to no one. They're just here, lying under this mound, waiting for an enterprising soul to make something of them. Isn't this what America's all about?
Little sunlight reaches that deep in, but you can still see the skeletal remains. Their heads carelessly removed, laying neatly in their excavated resting places, each one lovingly surrounded by stone effigies, earthenware, and copper plates in the shape of winged warriors. You pause and consider this small man, greedily arranging someone's remains as though they were a trinket for a mantelpiece.
Tell him to fuck off or make up a ghost story. We'll
It's
do a ghost
crude
story.
and ridiculous, but he's a crude and ridiculous man. You have him run off the mound, sworn never to tell of what he's seen, for fear of monsters and ghosts. It's a small thing, but a kindness you hope.
The waitress at this diner is sharing an outlandish tale with one of her regulars. I heard it from my sister-in-law, she says. It happened to her daughter's friend. It's true. She noticed you listening. Hey, have you heard this one before? She regales you with a story about the apple orchard planter who planted 10,000 trees. Halfway through, you realize that it's the story of John Chapman, his orchard, and his dog, but highly embellished. What do you think about that? It's an interesting tale. Sure agreed. Sure is, she agrees, and every word of it true. That was Johnny Appleseed. We met this dude planted an apple tree with his dog dead right next to it. Well, he's digging a hole in an apple orchard and planted a tree on top of it, which is just creepy as the fuck.
I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back.
I think 17 here probably turns into 95 at some point. 17 by me, right out front, is a 2-lane highway like that. But it's about right where I'm standing, which is kind of cool. Alright, we'll knock down Florida here. What's that, Tampa right there?
Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm cold and empty,
He sings as he works, his voice warm and soft as the late afternoon sun. The air's sweet with the tang of recently cut sugar cane. There's a practiced, almost soothing precision to the way he works. He looks up and nods hello. Making molasses, he says to your unasked question. I sell the blackstripe in town. Farmers use it for feed. Bitter as hell. He grins.
Yeah, we want to try some of
Got
that.
some set aside. Comes back with a murky flask, waving off any offer of payment. I ain't charging. Folks around here need what they can get. Makes a mean loaf of bread. He nods at the barrels. I'm about done filtering. Got to boil it next. Lend a hand? You help him haul the barrels over to the metal boiler. You pour in the juice and set the fire. It's hot work. He fetches water and dark bread, and you share the small meal and a smile. It's good to find another who takes joy in honest labor.
Thought he was making fucking moonshine. Petersburg. These fellas are lounging in front of a half-finished office building, taking their lunch break. Hey, one calls, waving you down. Rick was telling us a story. Listen, okay? You tell if it's bullshit or not. Rick, a credulous-seeming fellow, starts telling you a story about the headless Hessian of Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, you realize it's a story of the rider in the woods, but changed in a few major ways. So it's definitely part bullshit, right? But also a little real. It's not bullshit. Half the group groans. How the hell is that supposed to be a real story? Exclaims the man who waved you down. You're all the most gullible piece of shit I've ever met. The other half of the group, vindicated, shares a bottle of pop with you.
Eyes like rolling dice and easy bargains on his breath. He said you don't need that pain, child.
His smile lights up the room, or rather the cab of the locomotive. Folks gather round as he holds the pull cord. He's a showman through and through.
You'll want to cover your ears now for this next part.
Let's cover them ears.
Sure doesn't help much. Engineer pulls that chain and the whistle blasts inside your skull. He just smiles through it all. Man must be half deaf. A round of applause erupts from the small crowd. He passes out bubble gum to the shell-shocked kids, half of them in awe, half in tears.
Get shuffled out.
Remember now who gets you there on the advertised. Casey Jones.
Everyone's all talk as they head back to their seats. That engineer sure is handsome. Gosh. And that whistle sounded just like a whippoorwill, didn't it? Ain't this the way to travel?
Every time we've seen a whippoorwill, somebody's got their ass killed. Like right away.
A family of 9 invites you into their home for a meal. Hogs roam free in the yard. They wallow in shady patches of cool mud, not paying any mind as you pass.
Eat with the family.
During supper, the hard wind puts an awful burden on the walls. The glass dishes rumble on the table, but the mother seems calm.
Can't butcher a hog in these parts without me, Ma, hollering for pig's feet.
Could we share?
The mother's heavy sigh gives you the impression her children ask this often.
Me, Ma, wants more pig's feet. Heaven can provide.
Cleanse my soul. That current gonna take firm hold of me. That water gonna make me whole. Going down to the river. Gonna cleanse my soul. Won't heed temptation. I just walk on by. Won't heed temptation. I just walk on.
We need a 6th.
She told you.
Oh, this is going to be
beckoning
great.
From the steps of a great dark mansion. And just like that, you found yourself sitting with strangers around a velvet-draped table. Her voice is reedy and high, modulated by the tight collar of her Victorian dress.
Join hands, everyone.
Your host keeps her eyes closed as she beseeches the spirits of the dead. But everyone else around the table lets one lingering, awkward glance bounce around between them. You sense they're just about done humoring her when it happens. A deep, nasty thump beneath the table. The whole table starts to shake, threatening to lift right off the ground. And then, the staid candle flames start flickering like mad, casting ghastly shadows on the walls. And then, a viciously cold wind cuts through the parlor like sharpened ice.
Oh, keep holding.
The damned candles
Hold the
are
line.
dancing in midair around
Hold
you
the
now,
line.
singeing a hair here and there off the coiffed heads of these well-heeled guests. You notice your host across the table has her eyes open wider than they should go. A rivulet of blood dripping from her nose.
Hold the
When
line.
you come to your senses, sunrise has begun to creep in. The parlor is empty but for you and the woman in the old-fashioned dress, who slumped dejectedly over the table.
He didn't show up. All that sound and fury, and no sign of his spirit.
We'll grab these stories, go up and do the campfire, and then right around 9 o'clock, I got to get out of here. I got to meet some people. We're going to go watch the basketball game.
Electric lamps stipple the cotton field before you with an orange light, moving like a group of lethargic fireflies. From the field, the voices of the workers reach you in a soulful, united song. You're gently lulled to sleep as the song floats over you. Hello, Lordy, pick a bale of cotton. Hello, Lordy, pick a bale a day. You're pulled out of your slumber by a woman's pained scream and a collection of shouts rising from the field. The woman's screams taper off, soon replaced by the raw cries of an infant. Applause briefly fills the night, eventually fading back into song. Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, and like right before 10 o'clock, Florida tips off. But like 5 minutes before that, Michigan tips off. So I'm going to go, and, nobody's a Michigan fan but me. But I'm telling them, I'm told everybody I'd show up to cheer on the Gators. I don't give no shit about
You
the
wake
Gators.
up to the gentle crescendo of the workers' song, unsure if it ever ceased at all.
Excusez-moi.
Beckoning you over, the woman shows you a letter, beautifully typeset on thick vellum. You're struck by the scent of a fancy department store. She points on the parchment to the address.
This address, you know?
Her accent is very thick. You are dismayed to read the first paragraph. Lorem ipsum dolor sit amet, and the address under the monogram in the letterhead. 12345 Road Street,
Anytown,
Anytown,
USA.
The woman blinks, hopefully, leaning close over your shoulder.
Yes? You know this place?
She asks. Poor woman. She's been tricked. This place doesn't exist, you try to explain as loud and slowly as possible.
Of course she exists.
The woman snorts, thumping a fist to her chest. You struggle to make yourself understood, but the poor woman whisks the letter away and stomps down the street. Oh well. C'est la vie.
A stubborn woman that won't listen to somebody. That's shocking. Shocking! After gossiping for a while about the weather and the crops and the state of the world, all bad and getting worse, he takes a different tack. It's like, is this present day? You look like someone you look like someone who likes a good story, he wheezes. Try this one on for size. I'm listening. After loudly and repeatedly clearing his throat, he tells you the story of the cow landlords who evicted their human tenant and lived indoors. It sounds a lot like the story of the intelligent cows that took over the owner's house, but with some parts changed and other parts added. Listen to the tale. Why is my cat going crazy? What? What? That's why you don't have no friends. When he grins up at you at the conclusion of the tale, you give him the effusive praise he's apparently expecting. You'll have to remember that version, even if it's not quite what happened. It's still a good story. All right, let's check out Miami. Oh shit, there's a campfire. We'll do that last.
You've enjoyed a break on the beach, staring off the edge of the world. But the sun is starting to go down, and the breeze is getting stronger. As you're about to stand, a man plunks down near you. He sits a polite distance off, but looks at you expectantly.
Hold on. We greet him warmly.
He smiles weakly.
All
I
right.
just got fired. First Spanish-American radio host in the state, and they fired me. They needed to make cuts, I get that, but I'm twice the... He trails off. I don't know what I'm going to tell my wife.
Man, I plugged my phone in to charge it while I'm here, and it is driving me crazy. Be
I
sympathetic.
could try the docks, but there's already more men than jobs, and I could barely support the family on what they pay. He hangs his head. And my boy, I can't bring myself to tell them. I don't know what to do.
I'll sit with that guy.
He calms as the sun drops below the horizon. An expanse of darkness is ahead of you. Turning back to the lights of the city reminds you that the world hasn't gone away. After a long silence, he speaks. It's never going to get better, is it?
Sure, it will.
It takes you a moment to notice his sobbing over the noise of the waves. I've got to tell them, haven't I? I'll go to the port in the morning and see if they'll take me. You can no longer make him out in the dark, but his hand touches your shoulder as he leaves.
You wander to the streets of the city looking for a way to make some cash. You wait outside a lumber warehouse for hours. You don't get there early enough for work at the warehouse, but trucks swing by every few minutes, picking up loads of fresh wood, and sometimes a few people from the street corner for a job somewhere in the city. A battered pickup stops at the curb. There's only a few planks in the bed of the truck, and the cab is packed with teenagers. A young man with a bent cigarette dropping from his mouth said, "Hey, Want to make some cash? Absolutely. The door of the trunk cab opens slowly, and the boys slide around to make room for you. You count them quick, 6 total. 2 of them crouched under the dashboard at the foot of the front passenger seat. There's something ominous about their sudden silence. Huh? The moment the truck pulls into the street, every single boy but the driver produces a switchblade of some sort. Everything is bare knees and shiny knife blades. Give us your money, howls the driver, accelerating into the middle lane. Flee. You reach back for the door latch, and a second later, you're landing hard in the middle of the street. The truck roars away, the boys' shocked faces crane back to look at you. A taxi nearly runs you over. Passerby jeer as you limp to the curb. It could have been worse. That's what happens when you spend some time in the wrong side of Miami. All right, let's leave. We'll go to that camp. Who's this? My boy Dupree.
You look good.
My
honey.
girl
You
Dupree.
got a life? You like a good story? I like to hear about people and make bets with them.
Oh. Why are we in a graveyard?
I like to hear about the weird, handsome people. Get convinced by the rich jackasses who'll play blackjack and lose into the night. Dames who are lit cigarettes burning to the end. I want to be around furious people who use me and I use them. Are you one, stranger? Come close to me. Got any stories with ghosts or murderers or blood or something like that?
Hell yeah.
Sweetheart, did I say I wanted to hear some crap joke?
Now that bitch told me she wanted to hear something with ghosts. So I told her a ghost story, and this is what she came back with?
I spent a night in jail once, and it were nicer than a prospect of going back to where I was born, you know, just to become what my mom always wanted me to be.
You're about to spend the night in the hospital with that attitude.
When I was 12, she caught me kissing a girl once, and I felt like I would never get out of all the strands of her red-as-hell fury. I said to her, "But you said I ain't to kiss no boys, and I ain't." But she and I both knew that ain't what she meant. Hey, got any exciting stories? Like the movies?
Uh-oh. That was just boring.
A long time ago, I left that little hole I grew up in and started to make my home wherever I was. I don't regret it. I took a pack of cards and hopped on a cargo train, and when it stopped by someone interesting, I'd let them take me to where the law can't see. And you know what's home in this here country? People. No one loves harder and tries harder than these countrymen. And at night when the grasshopper's squeaking, I think they singing something patriotic about trying luck and failing and trying again. Hey, got any exciting stories? Like the movies?
know this lady's gonna piss me off.
I thought about starting one once. Maybe just a one-night stand with one of the handsome ones, you know. One of the ones that wins or buys the brandy or who tells you could come straight out of that hopper painting and they're so gentlemanly like that. And I could just never tell them what happened to my belly and have my own family. Me and my little one, and we'd gamble together and stake the world. Got any stories with ghosts or murderers or blood or something like that?
Ghosts, murderers, or blood? Let's go up this way. There's a dead woman in the yellow.
Sounds like you're trying to sell me something with a sad tale. If you want to do that, honey, you gotta make it seem real. I don't know if you've been on the road that long, stranger. 'Cause you ain't got that exhaustion in your face about moving 'cause you have to. Sometimes you just can't with people. And you, well, you look so hungry for talk right now. Sometimes I'm in a hold'em with 5 other people and I look around and I think, I ain't been alone for 5 hours, and I might set fire to this whole place and walk out of here. You ain't there yet. Got any stories with ghosts or murderers or blood or something like that?
She asked for ghosts. I gave her a ghost. There we go.
Just what I asked for. That spooky stuff gets my heart going like a good hand sometimes do. The law? I can get by with the law. The law thinks I'm a victim, a sad girl of the streets, a damaged girl, a girl who ain't got no fate and whose daddy didn't love her. My daddy's dead, and all cops are in my pocket, stranger. I will tell you that if I tell you anything. The law is bad for us Roman kids. It does not serve us. But you learn to get that sad, pale girl.
All right, Matt. It was good to
on.
see
They
you, brother.
love that. Sometimes you gotta promise them something more and...
I'm taking off myself
Well,
in a
I
minute
don't
or
say
two.
it's pleasant, but you born in a body. Sometimes people treat you like you need the power
I'm going to
taken
finish
from
this, and my mom's blowing my phone up. And I got to get something to eat and then head to the bar.
you. Next time,
So I'll
let's
see you,
up
brother.
the stakes,
It's good to see you.
shall we? Why don't we spend some time with bourbon and 5-card stud? You bring the bourbon, of course.
Ain't
And
that
when the
some shit?
moon's fuller, I might let you in on some secrets on life. Have you any?
All right. Let's see. How far are we on this thing? Does it say? We don't want to do that.
I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the
All right. So we've met some people.
'cause when that very man comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found.
We have 55 of 219 stories. God damn.
I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep
All right. I am going to take off for the night. We are. I will probably be back tomorrow. Friday is usually a lazy day for me. And we'll probably not play this. I mean, I find it exciting. It just is kind of, for lack of a better word, boring to just sit there and play. We'll probably play something a little bit more exciting. I looked up a game called The Council, which looked decent, and it's only like 3 hours. And then we might just play that, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right. Please, if you want to, if you like what you see or whatever, just give me a follow on twitch.tv/TomJimmy5150. Give me a follow, or I do post most of these videos on YouTube. We will be posting this one probably in the next couple days over the weekend. All right. I will talk to everybody soon. See ya.